the same brand, the same series, the same name, and only the tag of 4G and 5G. Does that confuse you? It's the Realme Narzo 30 series and Realme Narzo 30 5G, Realme Narzo 30 4G. How much does this confuse you? And if you are, as a buyer, looking out to purchase one of these devices, what should you look out at? Should 5G be a major reason for you to choose the 5G variant over the 4G one, or should overall performance at fast charging be your priority? Let's talk about that in this particular video. Hey guys, this is Chetan for Gizmo Times and you're watching a quick comparison of the Realme Narzo 30 series, the 5G versus 4G variants, and we'll straight away run into the specifications and talk about the performance difference and also how do these two phones actually differ and which one should you go for in terms of long-term usage, and should you buy the 5G variant and go for it, or 4G is good enough right now. So let's go with the design first. The design of these two is almost the same. I mean, in terms of how it looks like on the gradient back and everything, it's the same. The camera module actually differs here, and that's what at least gives you the idea of which one is the 5G and 4G one. So this is the 5G variant with that large rectangle, and this is the vertical arrangement on the 4G variant. Cameras are the same, 48 MP plus 2 plus 2. The 2 megapixel one is a macro and the second 2 megapixel one is a portrait black and white lens. Now on the front as well, they are the same with the display. It's a 6.5-inch Full HD Plus display on both of them with the 90 Hz refresh rate. But obviously, it's a bit more brighter on the 5G variant, with the 5G variant offering 600 nits of brightness when compared to 580 nits on the 4G variant. But not just that, if we go into the detailed differences here, you can see, yes, there are options for the dark mode, which is quite, common on the Realme devices with the Realme UI. But you're looking at here is the difference between the brightness. You can say this is more than 60% of brightness, this is just around 40%, but still the brightness is almost the same. This actually looks even more brighter right now. And apart from that, if you go into the other settings, we can look at the more options, and you'll see there's a color mode, screen color mode, that is offered here, gentle and vivid. So that is not present as a feature on the 4G variant. I don't know why. Kind of weird that these kind of basic features are not given on both the models, but yes, it's one of the differences that you see here. And the refresh rate option obviously is not different. You see the refresh option of 90 and 60 on both the devices. So we'll keep both of them at 90 FPS. And not just that, the display actually looks easily brighter on this one. 600 nits to 580 is not a huge difference actually, but in terms of the output in the end, you'll see that the 5G variant is much brighter when compared to the 4G one. Now, apart from the display, the next one is the major one, that's the chipset or the performance of it. So 5G is the reason why this comes with the Dimensity 700 chipset. 4G, this one comes with the Helio G95, which is tried and tested on the previous Realme devices. That's the Realme 7, Realme 8 and Realme Narzo 20 Pro, if I'm not wrong. So those phones all were pretty good with their performance and everything. But if you take a look at how good are they in terms of benchmarks, even though we always refer to this and say that benchmarks are not something to completely rely on in terms of performance, because the real life usage differs quite a bit, but at least the benchmark scores give you an idea of what the capability of the chipset is. So you can see here, you have the Helio G95 over here, and here you have the Dimensity 700, and it's Mali G57 MC2, Mali G76 MC4. So with the GPU, actually the Realme 8 4G should be much stronger in terms of the GPU performance, and that's what is clearly seen here. You have 1 lakh, over 1 lakh score for the CPU, but for GPU it's 78,000. Compared to that, this is 97,000 for the GPU scores. And apart from that, the difference here you can clearly see is with the memory, where you have a 10,000 score better on the Realme Narzo 30 5G. So that difference is clearly seen here. And in terms of GPU or the gaming performance, obviously the Realme Narzo 30 4G should be better. But one of the major issues with this is that Realme UI 2.0 messed up with the performance of the devices with the Helio G95, but hopefully that will be fixed because it's software related. Now, the next one is about the battery efficiency here. Since this is a 7nm chipset, the Dimensity 700 can easily give you a better battery life. Both have the same capacity of 5000 mAh, so obviously the battery life would be better on the Dimensity 700 based Realme Narzo 5G compared to the 4G one, which comes with a 12 nanometer chipset. And one other feature which is present only on the 5G phone is the dynamic RAM expansion. So dynamic RAM expansion is not present on this one. You have a 6 GB and 4 GB model on this one, but this one has 6 GB. You'll see plus 2 GB here, which is this. When enough storage space is available, you can use part of it to expand your RAM. So you can expand it by 2 GB, 3 GB or 5 GB. So a 6 GB model would in fact go up to 11 GB of RAM, and that depends on your usage, that depends on your need. But that dynamic RAM expansion, which uses your virtual storage to expand the RAM or make it smoother for switching between the apps, keeping the apps active in the background, that is all possible on the 5G variant, not on the 4G one. So in fact, I would say battery efficiency and also the performance of regular usage is better on the 5G variant compared to the 4G one. Now, the UFS 2.1 storage remains the same on both. The RAM, that is LPDDR4X RAM, also stays the same. Both the phones have expandable storage, that is the dedicated microSD card slot. And with the cameras, one difference which many of us usually miss out is, even though they have the same 48 MP camera and everything, no huge difference in that aspect. You have 48 MP dedicated mode over here. Under the mode settings, you'll see a couple of changes, not huge. There's a text scanner that is extra on the 5G variant, not on the 4G one. But if you go into the video settings, that is one area where the 5G variant comes with a compromise. If you go into the settings here, for the video recording settings, you would see video resolution. You have a 4K video resolution on the 4G variant, which is not present on the 5G one. So one thing to notice, if you are someone who's into video capturing and everything, not as a professional one, because if you really look at it in this price range, I won't even recommend these phones for 4K video recording. There are a couple of better options as well, but you at least have a 4K video recording on the 4G variant, which is not possible on this 5G one. And here you have 60 FPS for 1080p, which is also not shown on the Realme Narzo 30 5G. Now, this is one of the differences in the cameras, because everything else is the same. You have the same 2 MP macro and 2 MP black and white portrait, and on the front as well you have a 16 megapixel selfie camera with f2.1 aperture. No difference there as well. But the other difference is with the battery's fast charging. Both the phones have 5000 mAh battery, no difference there. But a major compromise with the Realme Narzo 30 5G is that this comes with the 18-watt fast charging. That's 9V2A, and that is actually a compromise compared to the Narzo 30 4G variant, which comes with the 30-watt fast charging. 18 versus 30, obviously you know that it's quite a huge difference, and that big compromise on the Narzo 30 5G should be one of those reasons why I don't really recommend this phone. Otherwise, for the brightness of the display, for the performance, for the battery efficiency, everything is good. Even the dynamic RAM expansion feature is good, but a fast charging support or fast charger even in the box package, both of them are absent. And 18 watt is what you can see as a maximum support on the 5G variant, 30 watt on this one. So that obvious difference is because the brand didn't want to actually give the 5G variant a higher price, and that is why some compromises on the other aspects have been done. One of them is the fast charging itself. Now, with the weight and thickness, this phone, actually the 4G one, is thicker, 9.4 mm in thickness, and it's heavier as well with 192 grams of weight. This one has 185 grams weight and it's 8.5 mm in thickness. So in a way, comfort level wise, this actually seems better, the 5G one, because having the same screen size, it's still thinner and easier to use as well, and it actually is lighter as well for a longer term use. Even though 192 grams and 185 grams, 7 grams of difference is not going to make any huge difference, but still it's worth mentioning that yes, they aren't the same with the dimensions and the weight, so there's that difference as well. So now overall, which one should be your choice? That's what most of us would ask after even looking at the major differences. I would say look at it in the long term perspective. If you're looking for a phone for the next 3 to 4 years easily, and by then if you're expecting 5G to roll out at least in your city where you live, then I would say yes, going with the 5G one is not a bad choice, because Dimensity 700, even though it seems like the GPU is compromised, I've already tested a couple of smartphones with Dimensity 700 on from Xiaomi and Realme, and they worked pretty perfectly. The Realme 8 5G worked very well with its performance, so you don't see a GPU performance compromise here. But some of those compromises which you can clearly see is there's no 4K video recording, there's no fast charging over 18 watt, you have 30 watt on the 4G one, and those are the two major compromises over here. On the other side, some of the differences where I would say there's no dynamic RAM expansion on the 4G variant, and also there is no 5G, which is a major factor for someone who's actually into using a phone for a longer term. You might have to switch to 5G phone at that point of time when 5G rolls out. So if you're looking out at this phone, you should be sure that yes, you'll have to change the phone. In this case, you might not have to do that because it's already having a 5G connectivity with dual SIM, dual standby, and also this has Bluetooth 5.1 compared to Bluetooth 5.0. Doesn't make a huge difference, but still worth mentioning. So I would say it completely depends on whether you want a phone for longer term perspective and are going to use it for a few years and don't want to switch to a 5G phone at that point of time if your phone is having those band support. That is also important, guys. Some of us feel that yes, because it's a 5G phone, it should suffice, it should be enough. But if the networks launch on some particular bands of 5G and those bands are not supported in this smartphone, and the brand says that no, we aren't going to give you a software update with the 5G band support for that particular band, then this phone is as useless as this one in terms of 5G connectivity. So I would rather say it's still, given the current situation, I would say you should rather look at the performance, you should rather look at the camera specs and also the fast charging and everything if you are looking for a smartphone right now in the mid-range category. If you're looking for flagships, obviously flagships are a completely different thing, and that's where performance is great, 5G band support is great, but in this case I would say you should still look out at the Narzo 34G because it has a great performer, it has 4K video recording, it has faster charging support. So that's it, guys. This was my opinion about which phone should be your choice, but in case you're looking out at a 5G phone, this is still not a bad choice. So that's it, guys. I hope you like this video. If you do, share and subscribe to Gizmo Times for more. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.